Welcome to this brand new live premiere and happy holidays to everybody out there. For those who celebrate, some people celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah, and it's different for everybody. And some people favor different holidays as the year goes on. So I loved putting this together. I wanted to put a significant amount of time into this, and just like I did for my wish list, I'm going to use Team Sonic Racing as a background game, and also because this game has an adventure mode compared to the other games, Sonic and Sega, All Stars, and Transformed. It's from doing the research and looking up those games and watching gameplay. It had a career mode, but it wasn't really a story-based sort of game. Where this game in particular had a adventure mode, and I'm going to be referencing this. And I wanted to do some digging to find out about certain characters to bring to the story to try to make it as great as possible. I haven't seen anybody out there make a story idea for what they could do for Sonic Racing CrossWorlds, and I didn't want to rush a video out. I wanted to make sure it made the most sense, and I wanted to bring some of the best characters that people would be interested in seeing, and also a particular character I gotten to know for a while to try to find out his story, his backstory, how he came about, and things like that that I'm going to be getting into and more. And one thing I want to say, my goal for this is to make this, I want this story to be as and fun to play and with replay value while also making it make the most sense as possible. So make the most sense as possible to make sure it's gonna be able to flow, it's gonna be able to catch your attention, and it'll be something that you might want to play and be able to be interested in seeing. And I'll just say this now, I don't care even if it does not happen as far as the way I want it to be with some of these characters to be involved. But we're gonna head into the team adventure, and I want to just do like an example and start talking about some of this before I start getting into my ideas. There's gonna be timestamps of what I'm gonna be talking about if you want to skip through, if you want to listen in and hang out for the full premiere. I'm not sure how long this video is going to be, but it's going to be the last video I bring out um, for the main video outside of just clips and YouTube shorts um, and character requests. But this will be a video that you guys can be able to watch throughout the holidays if you want to check it out. And if you're interested in this game, you can let me know some of the characters that you want to see get involved in this kind of story. Who would be a main antagonist? Who would be some of the villains that you guys want to see be able to be paired together and band together to really try to put an end to Sonic the Hedgehog for good, and to be rid of the blue blur once and for all, and all of his friends to be wiped off the planet for good. So let's just start getting into the team adventure for this game. And some people probably didn't really play this game and missed out on it because they probably heard some things about the game not being as great and being a flop and things. I enjoyed the team adventure mode, and I enjoyed the game for what it is. I just, again, if you haven't already heard me say this from the other Crossroads video that I made, I have not played Sonic and Sega All Stars. I didn't play Transform, which I heard is one of the best games. But I think CrossWorlds, Sonic Racing CrossWorlds, can be able to outdo Transformed in Sonic and Sega All Stars because it has potential to be of being a crossover. So let's just start going through some of these chapters. It's 7 chapters in this game, and I would love to see something like that for for a story mode. It could be divided into chapters for the player to be able to play through with different things going on. The map itself looks like Mario itself, which is when you pick a stage from a Super Mario game from all the different worlds. Look, stage. Look, just look at it. Stage 6-1, 6-2, 6-3, 6-4. It's mapped out like a Mario game when you play the stages, depending on what world you're in. I love the music. I also turned the music down so you guys could be able to hear me because it was a little bit loud from last time. So I wanted to make sure everybody could be able to hear what I'm saying. But as you guys listen in, but you can share your ideas and you can critique it and maybe make some changes to it if you want to, and what characters that you would add instead of the characters that I implement. But I wanted to go all the way back and use this as an example, and this is the perfect example just again because it has an actual story and different dialogue. And the thing that this game lacks, let's just play the first stage real quick. I might even try to play a race. Let's just complete it. We already did. Let's play it. Let's do something different. We'll play a race and then we'll start talking about it. But see how at the bottom it says watch the story. begin the story, skip the story. You know what I mean? Let's just put it on just anything. So it was all things Sonic the Hedgehog. As the movie came out this weekend, I enjoyed it. Sonic movie 3 was amazing. Definitely recommend it if you have not had a chance to see it. I'm not going to spoil, of course, but let's start with Sonic the Hedgehog. We're just gonna pick him. In fact, we'll play Shadow.
Let's go.
Since it's his year,
This.
it'll make the most sense. So let's just watch this real quick. Hopefully it shows this is gonna play the story. Let's see if it does, because I wanted to use this as an example for the Wiz circuit as it loads up. I wanted to use this as an example. Seemed like it didn't even play it. Did it play the story? Let me see. Go back and exit. Seemed like it didn't play the story. Probably because I pressed square. Look, begin stage, watch the story. See.
The racetracks are ready. Time to acquire drivers.
See? It's just dialogue. Here we go.
All right, let's get started.
Let's get started. Because it didn't play it, it didn't trigger it for some reason. Here it is.
Welcome to Wisp Circuit, the first in a series of team races.
And you say that the winner of the tournament gets to keep.
See how, this is what I'm going to start with. See how his dialogue?
A little too sweet.
I love the music.
Something about this Tanuki I
It's just
don't
dialogue.
trust.
Where's the cutscenes? This is what I want to see. See, that's that story, and it's different. We'll just play it. We're gonna play and participate in the race, just for a little bit of gameplay, just in case you guys haven't seen it. But you see how I'm gonna be able to talk about it while I'm just racing through. But you see how it's just dialogue. They don't really have cutscenes that's in this game.
We'll go as a team, right, Big?
Okay, sure.
See, they'll have some kind of random dialogue reactions when you start playing the game, but it just doesn't seem. Got that perfect start. So this is Team Shadow. But it seems like just with this game in particular, it doesn't have like a story when it comes to the cutscenes. That's something that I wanted to add and implement. I love the dialogue and reactions, even when they get hit by certain characters. There's unique interactions between the Shadow will talk to Omega and Rouge, of course. Shadow would, if he gets hit by Sonic the Hedgehog or Vector, even Dr. Eggman or whichever character that you get hit by or you hit successfully with a wisp, you'll be able to hear certain dialogue. So it's all types of different things that I wanted to see. I don't know, are they gonna bring the wisp back? I wonder how that's gonna be implemented in the story. But I wanted to just play a little random race to really be able to showcase it and see how the characters talk. Because it's part of what I want. They have different reactions based on the tracks that you play and whichever character that you hit. Saying item items you don't need to teammates. I wonder if they're going to be able to have this. It's not going to probably be a team race thing. It'll probably be individuals. I'm not sure if they're going to put them in a team. Would y'all like to see something like that? You can even request Wiz in this game. But the one thing that I want to just start with while I'm just playing this race, I'm just going to play this one for this premiere. We got Team Ultimate, so we're going to wait and save that for the final lap. Because the AI likes to go crazy. Almost got shot by a rocket, which I just did. Love the soundtrack. But you see how just mostly for the most part for the team adventure mode in this game, it doesn't have cutscenes. So that's something that I'm going to be looking for in CrossWorlds. If they were to have like an adventure mode of its own. Let's just plot right there. And all the different songs I play, depending on who you're playing on. But I'm hoping to see cutscenes. I want to see. We wish I had a little reaction. They catching up really quickly. So everybody's here. We got the little slipstream. I want to see cutscenes. I want to see just encounters and the characters be able to react to each other. And the one thing that excites me the most about CrossWorlds is Sonic being able to potentially meet characters that he has never ever seen before and interacted with. So best. I love this announcer in this game. So I don't know if it's gonna be like team based for CrossWorlds. Teen Sonic and all these different worlds. But this is a game where I think a lot of people are going to be able to see what they do, and I'm excited to see if they're going to implement all these different characters that are going to be able to be a part of this new game. Now we're going to start getting into the ideas. I just wanted to showcase some gameplay and just use an example of what they did as far as cutscenes. It's going to be another cutscene that's supposed to play. So once you start a race, it'll pop up, and then once you finish a race, it's supposed to be another one. See?
Well done, one and all. Of course, some
See,
of
he's
you
the one who
did
started
better than
this
others.
competition.
Some of you might not survive at all.
See, I originally thought he was an antagonist.
You know, that creepy chuckle is one O away from an Eggman laugh.
He's doing that Santa Claus. So I just wanted to showcase a race just to be able to showcase it today, and that's what it's gonna be. See how it says the same option, begin the stage, and you watch the story. That's the one thing that you get. It's just dialogue. There's no cutscenes really in this team adventure mode, and that's something that I really wanted to change. And Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing and Transform never had like this kind of adventure mode between chapters, but this was the game that had it. So CrossWorlds can be the difference maker, uniting different worlds for players to race and compete against all sorts of characters, and that's what I wanted to really build with this kind of idea. And when I watched a little bit of Transformed from the gameplay, characters were unlocked through World Tour and earning stars and winning the versus challenge against specific characters. So I brought that back for this kind of story mode idea, and I don't want it to play anything like this. I want it to be different. I wanted it to be unique, and just looking through this. So now one thing I want to start talking about is the plot. See all these chapters? It's so many different things that can go on for this game. In the world of CrossWorlds, I wanted to bring all types of different characters together. So this is the plot that I came up with, and this will all be listed in the description for you guys to be able to read along. It just in case you miss certain things that I say, and if you want to read along with it and see if you like it enough, and maybe some things that you might want to change. So the plot itself, I'm bringing the Zeti back. The Deadly Six can return, and there's only one Deadly Six member that's in this game. It's Zavok. None of the other 5 characters are not in it. So being able to watch some gameplay of Sonic Lost World, which they debuted in, I didn't play that game, so I wanted to do the digging and find out the characters, what they're about, and their personalities and things like that. So I wanted to bring the Zeti back into this game to be able to have some kind of a role in the story to give them a better spotlight. The Deadly Six have returned, or the Zeti, from another time dimension and is ready to seek revenge against Sonic and all of his friends, as well as destroy whoever gets in their way. Dr. Eggman can regain control of the Deadly Six as he vowed to control them. All is well for now when Sonic and Tails can be testing out Tails' new power supply. A little bit of Sonic Adventure rides. Tails is going to be testing out his new power supply of his newly built Super Tornado. So you notice he had the Tornado 2, which was Sonic's plane, things like that originally, that he gave to Tails. He's going to be working on a brand new model, the Super Tornado, something I wanted to give it a different name to make it sound cool, or at least try to. A brand new model that he can take for a spin to the skies. So I don't want to just keep it here on the story that long. Let's just show y'all the roster, and we'll just so y'all can see the characters in the game. So we'll just play. Just click on something and just anything. So see how Zabok's the only character, just in case people haven't seen the roster. So it's going to be on here for a while. I even turned down the music just again so it's not too loud. But Zabok being the only Deadly Six member in this game, and then see how it's only 15 characters. It's going to be it should be a lot more for CrossWorlds. There's just no way. So Dr. Eggman and Zabok are going to be reunited, and Dr. Eggman is going to be able to regain control of them. So just continue on with the plot. when they're testing out this new super tornado and taking it out for a spin, they're in the sky flying around, Sonic and Tails together hanging out. All of a sudden, the skies get darker by the second, and a portal opens up, beginning to absorb Sonic's world, Angel Island, and his friends, being sucked into a whole new world. So, with this idea that I came up with, this can help introduce Sonic to other characters beyond his universe that he's so used to, when there are plenty of others out there for him to come across. When you think of the CrossWorlds and just the whole CrossWorlds idea, Sonic hasn't even met characters like Alex, Kid, and all the other ones. They don't have cutscenes for those kind of characters. They don't have cutscenes for Sonic to be able to meet some of these characters that he's so used to. He's been around his friends for all this time. He hasn't really seen the likes of other characters outside of Mario characters, of course. But it's not about Nintendo this time. All of these Sega characters can really be able to unite, and Sonic can really be able to feast his eyes on all new friends that he can be able to make, new connections and new bonds and friendships that he could be able to develop in this whole new world, in this dimension that they're going to be stuck in. So, I'm gonna say this, with Shadow having this car in the trailer, you see him drive through a portal. That same portal is going to be able to take Sonic and friends and Sonic and company through all these different types of worlds, and they'll be able to see these new characters. So he can get the proper introduction to all these new worlds and these new characters that he can be able to get to know for his adventure. It's not just going to be all about Sonic the Hedgehog. There's other characters that's going to be in trouble, that's going to be stuck and lost and clueless of where they are. And they're not going to be in their time, back where they belong in their home world. They're going to be trying to find a way back home so they can get back to where their normal world. And Sonic and so many other characters are going to be involved in this, and I wanted to make this as great as possible. So Sonic will need all the help he can get from new faces, and to earn their trust by defeating characters in a race to the finish line. So with the entire planet in jeopardy, the Chaos Emeralds can be scattered. See, and then just like I mentioned with Angel Island, that's going to be in trouble too, and it's going to be lost in this dimension. So you're going to try to race to the finish line and try to save the planet. The entire planet is going to be in jeopardy. The Chaos Emeralds can be scattered and lost in several different worlds outside of the Sonic universe. So it's not the same thing. These 7 Chaos Emeralds are going to be scattered in different worlds from all types of different characters, and this is the perfect door opener for Sonic to be able to meet other characters outside of his friends and from his world. So each world is going to have or contain a Chaos Emerald for Sonic to be able to hunt down and try to find them, so he can probably try to use the power of the Chaos Emeralds, and Shadow and all the others are going to try to help, so they can probably try to use the power of the Chaos Emeralds to really try to restore everyone's world back to normal and be able to save the planet. You know what I mean? So with the emeralds being scattered in these different worlds and these different dimensions from the portals, they'll be able to travel between these different they're going to be lost in several different worlds. It can be a way for them to restore everything back in order with the power of the Chaos Emeralds. So, just finishing this little story I came up with, will Sonic find a heroic group to ally with in time before the Earth is destroyed? They're not gonna be able to trust Sonic so easily. They're gonna think he's a bad guy. They're not gonna trust Sonic. He's an outsider. Everybody that he's gonna be able to come across in this sort of game for Sonic Racing CrossWorlds is gonna be someone new for him. They're not gonna be easy to trust. And just trying to build this story, you'll be challenged by Alex, Kid, and so many other characters I'm gonna be able to talk about in a little bit. You're going to be challenged by them, and I wanted to take from Transform because it had the versus challenges. The versus characters, like unlockable characters like Amigo and other characters that you could be able to unlock, Knights and more, you had to defeat them in them. You had to not only complete the world tour to get those stars, but you had to complete the versus challenge to defeat that character or that racer in that versus challenge. So you'll be able to take on those different characters to really have them join your side, and you can unlock the characters that way from playing the game and playing the story. So they'll be exclusively locked behind this story that they can really be able to implement. Even if it's not the way I'm putting it together, these characters can be locked behind the story and be playable, just like Zavok and Dr. Eggman. You know what I mean? So just like they did with these two characters, and then, well, in Metal Sonic and things like that, those characters were unlocked later on, but you had to complete the story or the team adventure. So that's the plot that I came up with, but now I wanted to do a little bit more with it instead of just coming out with a plot and just closing the video out there. So what else is there to do in this story, in the story mode that I wanted to do? So the one thing I want to go back, I'm gonna go back to the adventure. See, they have those challenges. I want to bring those up to the garage. So we're just gonna pull this up real quick. Let's have this on, like, if y'all can hear it. So then what else is this story going to have? I wanted to add costumes to unlock for the characters like Sonic with his classic Sonic, classic Tails, and classic Dr. Eggman, things like that. Costumes to unlock for the characters in game using the in-game currency of rings. So I'm putting rings in the in-game currency that when you play these different stages, not like this, of course, but when you're in these different worlds, I'm going to mention the different worlds that I wanted to bring in this story so players could be able to experience the different variety. I don't want to make too many, but it's a good amount of worlds that could be in, things like that. So the in-game currency, the rings that you can be able to collect, rings can be earned during the story progress as you complete a race and you defeat a boss and things like that. And you see how these different worlds, these different stages, they have different challenges and conditions. So you have the key, perform a team ultimate at least 2 times to receive the key. You just get different things. But I wanted to implement a costume. When you play the game and play the story with certain characters, you'll find yourself replaying some of the stages with certain characters that you unlock. So that way, though, you can go back and get those costumes for your favorite racers and really have that for those that are completionists. And it could be like a trophy or an achievement where you can unlock all costumes with all the characters in the story, or unlock all costumes for all the racers. I think costumes will be something that'll be awesome to see for some of these characters, and see how they have different sort of challenges throughout this whole thing. Look, the ring challenge. This, for example, collect at least. See, I can even play this to get the key. Collect at least 400 rings in a single drift. See those challenges? So I wanted to come out with Chaos Emerald challenges. Shout out to Crash Team Racing, because Crash Team Racing had gym challenges where you had to come in first place and win all 4 of those tracks. For that, it was almost like a Grand Prix, but 4 tracks you had to play in for, like the red gym, green, blue, and purple. I came up with Chaos Emerald challenges, so it doesn't have to be necessarily the same thing, just playing through 4 tracks. You can do certain conditions and really be able to probably maybe stun a couple opponents on a track, or have a good amount of certain rings that you'll be able to collect and things like that, and finish in first place for in at least 3 of the tracks and things like that. It's different conditions and challenges that they can really be able to add. So I came up with Chaos Emerald challenges, where these challenges can be race challenges for the players to compete in intense difficulty. So it's not so easy, and it's not going to be something that you can just blaze through. It's going to probably take you a couple tries, because there will be rubber banding in these Chaos Emerald challenges, so that way you can earn the emerald and you can feel rewarded. So it can have some kind of challenge, and it's not going to be so easily achieved. The Chaos Emerald challenges, that's the purpose of a challenge, for it to be difficult and it'll take some skill to really be able to get all the Chaos Emeralds for these challenges. And see the content I'm trying to put into this, it gives you more to do other than just playing. Well, I'm just playing a race and that's it, and trying to get to first place. It's more for the player to really be able to get involved in when it comes to the content for the single player campaign, or just the adventure mode or story mode per se. Now, I wanted to come up with a list of bosses I'm going to start talking about. So that way, it isn't just going to each planet. There's different villains that's going to be boss challenges that I wanted to bring into. And I already mentioned the Deadly Six in the plot. Zava, Xena, Zor, Saman, Zaz, and Zik is going to be in this. And then some other additional bosses outside of just the Deadly Six to make this even more creative and other characters to really get involved in the story. Eggman's loyal minions, Orbot and Cubot, can be a duo or two different racers that you'll be able to have to defeat one back to back. So if you lose against one, you got to start all over. It can be a challenge. Orbot and Cubot will be cool as unique racers, and when you defeat these characters and you successfully beat them as a boss, you can be able to unlock them. See, like you did with Ripper Roo, Panstripe, Komodo Joe, and Papu Papu, and all those other characters from Crash. You were able to unlock those characters from defeating them in the boss challenge. You can be able to unlock these characters and they'll be playable once you defeat them, and you can get a bonus character when you complete a secret bonus character once you complete the story, and maybe some other secret bosses that I want to be able to add in as bonus challenges exclusive to certain characters that they will be able to challenge and be able to meet, and there'll be cutscenes for them to have an interaction because they'll be seeing each other again. So not even just with Orbot and Cubot for the Deadly Six. How about Mephiles the Dark to be able to get involved in this story to bring him back? And I'm going to get into some other characters as well. So Mephiles the Dark would be fun to really see. Just picking a random stage to really be able to encounter Shadow the Hedgehog. That he keeps on coming back because he's trying so badly he wants to exist, so he's coming back after Shadow, and he can be a part of this story to be working with them and having his own secret agenda. Mephiles the Dark for a Shadow the Hedgehog exclusive showdown for you to play only with Shadow the Hedgehog. Now they could probably open it up where Sonic can meet Mephiles the Dark. And I don't even know, somebody can probably correct me if I'm wrong. Has Sonic the Hedgehog ever had an encounter with Mephiles the Dark? Or has it always been Sonic, or has it always been Shadow the Hedgehog? Sonic can probably be able to play against Mephiles. You could pick between them, and I just wanted to make it a little bit more spicy, where Sonic, you can choose between Sonic and Shadow, or maybe even Silver, the three iconic hedgehogs, to really be able to have a showdown with Mephiles the Dark. And they can have unique cutscenes where you can play it up to 3 times. I'm gonna say just lock it. Oh, just play it 3 times and it's just, you can't play it anymore. But it can be exclusive for Sonic, Shadow, and Silver for them to be able to race against Mephiles the Dark. How cool would that be? Would that be to see? Because they haven't been able to see, at least from my memory, Sonic and Silver have not met Mephiles the Dark. It was all about Shadow the Hedgehog, and he's been hunting him down for quite some time now. So I wanted to bring Mephiles the Dark in this story so you could be able to unlock him. He could be a secret boss, and he could be someone that could be involved in the story to be working alongside the Deadly Six to try to take over these realms and these different dimensions for this storyline. Metal Sonic can be back, new and improved. And then someone that Shadow will definitely know, and it'll trigger some kind of memory. How about I wanted to bring back Infinite, and I'm gonna just say this now. I did not know who Infinite was. I didn't know who he was at all. Infinite was a character that I did not know about because I didn't play Sonic Forces. And some people would say that he could have had a better story. I did not know his original story. I didn't know who this character was, but getting to know who he was, Infinite had a chance to really be able to destroy Sonic the Hedgehog. He hesitated on finishing him off and thought that Sonic was too pathetic of a creature to really be able to put it out of his misery and to really put him out and destroy him for good. Infinite held back when he had a chance to finish Sonic the Hedgehog. He beat Sonic the Hedgehog. Infinite beat and was able to outsmart Shadow the Hedgehog and even shut down Silver. He shut down all three of the Hedgehogs. Infinite has so much potential. I would love to see him be able to join forces with Zavok and Dr. Eggman and really have his own agenda and really be able to be a force to be reckoned with in this story. I wanted to make him a main antagonist for this story and also be a challenge where you'll have to be able to race against him a few times. And I wanted to also implement the Phantom Ruby that I did research on. I didn't know anything about Infinite at all. That's why I wanted to make this as great as possible. Infinite deserves to return. What do you guys think? Should Infinite return? And then the Phantom Ruby can take effect all over again to make Infinite into the ultimate racer. And I think he's very underrated. I think they can do a better job with him being able to have a better story role, to be a great villain in this CrossWorlds game, and getting to know Infinite's strength as someone who did not play Sonic Forces. I think he deserves to come back and play a major role in this story for Sonic Racing CrossWorlds if we get one. Him being able to handle Sonic, Shadow, and Silver really surprised me. And I do have Sonic Forces. I got it free from PlayStation Plus, but I didn't really play it and experience it. All I got to really see is Sonic get really dealt with in ambush, and Tails just look on and watch him just get destroyed, and didn't even try to help Sonic. He just looked on and watched. So seeing how all these antagonists can really be brought together with the Deadly Six with their agenda, and Infinite and Mephiles the Dark and Dr. Eggman and many other characters getting involved in this story, I wanted to really bring Infinite and the Phantom Ruby into the story and more to really be able to cause issues. The Phantom Ruby has so much power, it is able to alter the reality of making things real. That's what Infinite did to Shadow. He messed with his mind. With this whole mind games and things like that. He tricked Shadow and he was able to outsmart him, and that's how he was able to deal with Shadow the Hedgehog. He was able to play this cunning mind game with Shadow to alter his reality. That's how powerful Infinite is, and what the power of the Phantom Ruby can do to these worlds. So imagine that, the Phantom Ruby being able to alter these different worlds and these worlds outside of Sonic's universe, of course, things like that, with all these villains coming together. And it's not just about Sonic villains. So now we're going to start talking about new villains from other worlds that I came up with a list that we're going to just run through. Jenkin the Great from Alice Kid, and one of my favorites, Lan Di from Shenmue. I love the Shenmue series. Jenkin the Great can be a boss racer from these different worlds that you'll be able to explore and unlock some of these characters when you defeat them in a race, things like that. Goji from Jet Set Radio. And I did research. I don't know every single character, but I wanted to add in other iconic villains to get in. I played some of these games, of course, but I didn't know everyone. I wanted to make the story really interesting and beefy so everybody can get involved in this game. It's CrossWorlds. Let's get as many characters as possible to really be able to expand, things like that. Chaos Zero for Sonic Adventure, Captain Onishima from Jet Set Radio, just two different villains that just for variety. Akira Nishikiyama from Yakuza, an iconic villain from that series. Persona 5's Goro Akechi. Wise Man the Wicked from Knights. Death Adder from Golden Axe. And then Dr. Bad Boom from Super Monkey Ball, and many more characters that can get involved. These are just new villains from other worlds that can get in outside of just Sonic's world and all these other iconic villains from Sonic's universe. We can be able to get these different characters from other worlds that can be able to get involved and be characters for you guys to be able to play against and unlock, and also have character dialogue and cutscenes and them all trying to take over and be able to band together to try to destroy these worlds and be able to have their own agendas. It's going to be tough to really try to find out if Mephiles the Dark can be able to trust Zabba. It's going to be It's just the creativity that these guys can be, the writers are capable of doing to bring these characters together to have one ultimate goal. So now I want to get into, last but not least, now I want to get into the new worlds that I would love to see in this game, and we already talked about some of them. I want to see the world of Persona, Shinobi's world of Tokyo, Vector Man's world, Monster Hunter, the Wildlands of Monster Hunter. Those would be nice tracks. And I only threw in Monster Hunter. I know it's not related to Sega, but because Capcom has consistently collaborated and done a lot of crossovers with Sega. Sega and Capcom are definitely going to probably potentially add some Capcom characters like Mega Man to be able to get into this game outside of Monster Hunter and things like that. So I slipped in Dr. Wily's Castle for new worlds that they can get in for new updates, part of a world map. I'm not adding these to the story, but they can be story expansions. I'm not adding it to the main campaign or the main story mode, but they can come out with story expansions to really go into these worlds for Sonic to be able to visit all these different things. Maybe I'm asking for too much. Maybe I'm asking for too much to have some of these characters to be able to, for Sonic to be able to go to all these worlds. But CrossWorlds can be the biggest crossover ever for him to be able to see characters like Mega Man and others, Joker and many other characters I mentioned from before with the most wanted characters. He can be able to meet all types of different characters in a final world. I don't even know if she's part of Sega. Hatsune Miku, that some of you guys brought up. I'm not even sure how they could possibly be able to probably get her into this game. Sonic can meet Joker. I said beat before meeting. Sonic can meet Beat from Jet Set Radio, Joker from Persona, Teddy and Honor from his friends, Sonic and Hatsune Miku, and then Sonic and Kiryu from Yakuza. It'll be awesome to see those different character interactions come to light. I want to see those happen. I want to see all these different worlds get involved, and even if they're not part of the main story, they can be story expansions or playable worlds that you can be able to play these tracks in. You can challenge Vector Man, you can challenge Hatsuma from Shinobi, you can challenge Joker from Persona, and he can be a DLC character that you could be able to play against and race against, and you have to successfully beat him and make it to the finish line before he does, and to be able to unlock him. So they can be DLC, even if they're not story based and it doesn't have cutscenes. You can go to their worlds and visit these worlds in these different realms and dimensions to really be able to race against these characters outside from the worlds of all these different worlds of Sega characters, for this ultimate Sega crossover to really be able to race against these characters and be able to unlock them when you defeat them. And they can have all sorts of roadmaps to really continue to keep this game going alongside that crossplay. Everybody's going to be playing this game and trying to learn these characters, and they can come out with a competitive play for people to start playing and figure out the characters that you want to play and main and pick up. A lot of people will probably want to main Joker. A lot of people will probably pick up Hatsune Miku if she gets into the game. It's a lot of different characters, Mega Man and all these other Capcom characters that can be able to get in once they do crossovers. If they do, they might even get their hands on a Nintendo character that can get involved, because they have done Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. So it's all types of possibilities. Sega can't negotiate with Nintendo. You can't, there's just no way. It's a possibility because they have before in the past for several games. Sega can definitely negotiate and settle something with Nintendo to get some of these characters into the game for the roster. It'll definitely sell well with some of these characters, even if they can't not right now, but the future is so bright in the world of CrossWorlds for this game. Now, a question for you guys, just to close this premiere out. Does this seem like the next Sega crossover? Because it hasn't been something like this done in a long time. This can be the best Sonic racing game for new content, a roadmap, racers, and more. Crossplay can attract players, and it's funny because even with this game not having crossplay, I'm playing on PlayStation, by the way, it's still a good amount of people playing on PlayStation. I'm playing on PlayStation 5, it's a PS4 game, of course, but I've been able to successfully still find players playing this game online And I think most of these players are coming back to play this game a little bit more, considering the reveal of Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. A lot of people have been playing this game and coming back to play. Now, I don't know how it is on Nintendo Switch. Some people say it's dead on Nintendo Switch. I'm not sure how it is on other platforms outside of PlayStation, but I have been able to play a significant amount of matches in playing Team Race in this mode, well, in this game, for the platform of PlayStation. On PlayStation, I've been able to still find people play, and I think as the game continues to get closer to launching, people are going to be playing these games and going back to play for the memories, for the nostalgia. Even if you're not playing Team Sonic Racing, people are still going to be playing those Sonic and Sega All-Stars and then Transform for the memories, the vibes, and just the characters that they want to see. And I almost forgot, Wreck-It Ralph was in Transform. He a Disney character. He has nothing to do with Sega. Even it's not about the movies. It's not about the movies or anything like that. But he's still a Disney character. They can probably be able to get all types of different characters outside of the Sonic universe, and that's what makes me excited to really see what they do. I really hope it is a crossover. Let's get a crossover. Let's get crossplay, and it's gonna be a complete game. Because everything people want. And I don't know, maybe the story might be oversaturated. Maybe some people might say that, but that's the point of having a crossover, is having all these different characters involved. And if it's Sonic based, they can have all these different villains involved in these different worlds for you to take on, for bosses to really be able to challenge. And then you can be able to unlock parts from the garage and upgrade your carts and things like that. And these characters can be locked behind the story, so you have a purpose of unlocking the characters that you want and having some play value, some replay value to go back and replay some of those stages and those tracks to really unlock costumes. So I wanted to make it not just a one and done sort of thing. You complete it, well, I finished the story, there's nothing else to do, and you're just playing online all the time. I want to at least be able to unlock, give it more. So once you complete it, you can go back, get the costumes, and then when the roadmap and the DLC come out, there'll be playable worlds for you to be able to explore and unlock those characters and race against them in an intense challenge to really be able to unlock Joker and all those other characters. If they're not in the base game already, they can be DLC. Now, just to finish this up, it could be limited to Sonic characters only, which I wouldn't want to see, because maybe he'll be able to see lyric sticks and scratchy and grounded and things like that from the old show. Breezy the Hedgehog from the comics and things like that. Maybe she'll find her way into the game. And some of these other characters from Sonic Underground I grew up watching, some of those other characters, Fang the Sniper, they might even find their way in the story. I would like to see them. I didn't want to just keep on going on and on and on. It's a lot of characters that can get into the story to really be able to try to put a stop to Sonic the Hedgehog once and for all, and all the other characters in their worlds can be affected. A little bit of Kingdom Hearts vibes and things like that, where Sonic can be able to traverse to these worlds and these dimensions to really be able to get these Chaos Emeralds and really be able to restore order and restore the worlds back to normal and be able to shut down the Deadly Six. And then Infinite himself, that's going to be even stronger with a bigger story, and he's going to actually be able to no longer let up like he did and show mercy like he did, which was a big mistake when he had a chance to destroy Sonic the Hedgehog and all the others for good, because he got so cocky and he let it go to his head, and look what happened. He ended up losing the battle and he just never returned. And Sonic ends up making a magical comeback to put an end to Infinite. So Infinite can make his return. I definitely want to see him get into the story and be a playable racer and all the other characters I mentioned. Let me know what you guys think of the story. I had fun playing this together. I wanted to make it really interesting, intense, also add replay value in the future, so it has consistent content and also unlockables for the players to really be able to get involved and be able to stay engaged with the game, instead of just finishing the story and just saying, well, that's done, that the story is done, there's nothing else to do in this story, unless you want to just start over, delete your file all over again and replay it just for the sake of it. I didn't want it like that. I wanted to give it replay value, a lot of content, new villains, cutscenes, unique interactions, Sonic could be able to run into Mephiles and Silver and all the other ones. It's so many other characters that can get involved into this game to really make their return. And I think Infinite is one of those deserving characters that I would love to see alongside of the Deadly Six really be able to make their return and have bigger and better roles with some great voice acting for the game. So they can do a lot for this game. I'm not sure when it's coming out. I know it's coming soon, but it's something. This is something that I would love to see happen for this game for sure.